Here's another exclusive clip from Wrestling Reality with Justin LaBar, brought to you by Gladiators of the Cage.
A lot of confusion is going on from the fans of what is Seth Rollins' SummerSlam match going to be. Seth Rollins obviously retained his title after The Undertaker interfered in the match with Rollins and Lesnar. What's Seth Rollins' opponent's going to be? Fans very curious, a lot of rumors everywhere, and I'm here to tell you that the curiosity and chaos is at the same fever pitch behind the scenes in WWE. Spoke to a couple sources in WWE this morning, and this is what I know. As of about last week, Sting was the guy who was the front-running opponent to have for Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. So much so that they began making the promotional material, especially in production. They started doing, they started pulling the clips from Survivor Series last year. They started just getting ready to do what they had to do production-wise to be ready to push that world title match, which would be a co-main event at SummerSlam in Brooklyn. That is not the case no more. In fact, Sting is basically completely, from what I'm hearing, has been taken off the table as a Seth Rollins opponent. It seems likely Sting is going to end up in somehow in the Wyatt feud, whether it is a 6-man tag or whether the Wyatts take out Dean Ambrose and Reigns has to find a last-minute partner. But it seems Sting is going to pop up in that way, and it's going to be closer to SummerSlam. We're gonna ride the return of Taker and that headline, and Sting will kind of pop up as a last minute ticket sale kind of surge, so to speak, or network subscriber surge. So Sting's kind of out of the forefront. So we will not have the battle of leather body wetsuits of Sting and Rollins. So right now it's seen. So the next question, everybody's like, okay, John Cena. That seemed to be maybe what they were setting up for him from last night's segment. Apparently, the segment with Rollins and Cena last night was literally a last-minute thrown together. They already had Cena scheduled to be in that main event, that 6-man tag main event, so they really weren't planning to have Cena come out earlier. But they needed some segment they needed reason to get Rollins onto the show, and they didn't want and they thought that it wasn't going to be enough just to have Rollins cut a promo and then that be that. They figured they needed to have something to, of course, something to give Seth Rollins some interaction with. Obviously, it wasn't going to be Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar moved on to Taker. So the Cena Rollins thing was done last night as a sense of a filler and as a backup plan if they feel in the next week or two when they finally make a hard decision, if they have absolutely no other option that they're believing in strongly, that if they need John Cena and Seth Rollins, they know that the match will deliver. They know that it will draw to people, despite what some internet or hardcore fans might think. Cena's, it's in New York. Cena's going to be heavily booed. It'll still be interesting. It'll be a great match. So that was done, and fans don't always get this. I deal with it in a booking sense with IWC Wrestling that I work with in a regional capacity, and it's not. This is not subject to just indies. This is not subject to small. This is subject to any wrestling company, all the way up to WWE. Sometimes things just aren't as clear cut. Decisions aren't always made, so things are done, and like the Rollins Cena interaction. Done with the purpose of, well, we do it, we need to fill some space, but we can always use it to come back to if we need. But John Cena is not they are trying to avoid that. They want to keep John Cena doing his own thing with the U.S. title. I don't think Kevin Owens is done with that, which that I'll get to in a moment as well. So right now they're looking at Kane as an option. That sounds kind of crazy, but as I said last week, I thought Kane versus Rollins is a very reasonable option to happen come the fall time. It was returning Kane with the mask, but that is not out of contention to happen in August. And quite frankly, that might seem like a weird title match to you, but when you already have the show, the show is going to be sold off of Brock and Taker. You can afford to have Kane, who you might think is a lesser, not as big of, obviously Kane is not Brock Lesnar. Obviously Kane is maybe a step down, but there is enough story there with he and Rollins that it could be this is the show to do it when you already have enough star power with Taker, with Brock, with assuming Sting. Kane is an option. Triple H is still an option there, but again, I know that that's been that was kind of pushed aside at first. If they need to pick back up with it, they can. They have to do that kind of quickly. They have to pick back up with the Rollins being unappreciative, being arrogant, forgetting that it is without Triple H, he probably still wouldn't be champion or never would have became champion in the first place. So there are options there. A lot of them what we're all speculating, but that's the science. That's the situation of it. There is no, as of this morning, when they went off the air last night with Raw, and as of this morning, there's not been a decision made. It is still okay. Now that we have the tickets sold with Taker Brock, where are we going to go with Rollins? Interesting note, real quick. One of the options that was talked about briefly, but that quickly got shoved aside. One of the options that was talked about with Rollins was actually Bray Wyatt. It was spinning Bray Wyatt and back into like a face, not like a super baby face where he's kissing babies, but enough to where the crowd, especially that New York crowd, there would kind of be this odd dynamic of Seth Rollins, the cocky, protected corporate champion versus the wild Bray Wyatt, and of course having Luke Harper on his side. So it is chaos. As much chaos as you think as a fan, what's the Rollins opponent going to be as of this moment, as of Tuesday right now at 2:38 p.m. Eastern in the afternoon. There's no decision. Maybe if you're listening to this tomorrow on Wednesday, maybe there's more clear-cut decision. But as of now, that's that. I'll update you when I can update you.